In the velvet-draped salons of Victorian London, where gaslight flickers against mahogany walls and shadows dance with secrets, a young man stares into a mirror that holds more than his reflection. His beauty radiates like morning light through stained glass, unmarked by time or consequence. The only way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it. Oscar Wilde breathes life into this paradox through fingers that have known both silk gloves and prison shackles. His words shimmer with the dangerous allure of forbidden fruit, each sentence a carefully cut gemstone that catches light from angles society dares not examine. Dorian Gray emerges from Wilde's imagination like a Greek statue given breath and heartbeat. Golden curls frame a face that painters dream of capturing, yet beneath this marble perfection lurks something far more fragile than stone, a soul that trembles at the first whisper of mortality. The portrait begins as innocent as a child's prayer, oils and pigments arranged by an artist's loving hand. Basil Hallward's brush moves with reverence, capturing not just flesh and bone, but the very essence of untouched youth, beauty frozen in time, perfect and permanent. Yet, perfection carries its own curse. In the moment when Dorian first glimpses his painted self, something shifts in the cosmos. The mirror cracks, not in glass but in reality itself. Youth becomes a prison, and the portrait transforms from gift to guardian, from art to alchemy. Lord Henry Wotton glides through these pages like silk through water, his voice a honeyed poison that seeps into willing ears. His philosophy sparkles with wit sharp enough to cut flesh, each aphorism a golden needle that injects beautiful corruption into Dorian's virgin soul. The Yellow Book appears like a serpent in paradise, its pages heavy with exotic perfumes and decadent wisdom. Within its covers lie the secrets of sensation, the pathways to pleasure that society has dressed in shadows. Dorian drinks from this fountain of forbidden knowledge. London itself becomes a character in Wilde's symphony, its fog-shrouded streets hiding opium dens and music halls where respectability sheds its daytime mask. The city breathes with dual lungs, one drawing in propriety, the other exhaling pure desire. Sybil Vane dances onto the stage like a butterfly born from Shakespeare's dreams. Her voice carries the weight of Juliet's passion, Ophelia's madness, all the tragic heroines who love too deeply and die too young. She is art incarnate until love transforms her into mere flesh. The theatre where Sybil performs crumbles with the romance of decay, its velvet seats worn thin by generations of dreamers. Here, beneath painted cherubs and tarnished gold, the line between performance and reality blurs until truth becomes indistinguishable from its costume. When Sybil chooses love over art, her voice breaks like crystal against stone. The magic that once made her Shakespeare's vessel drains away, leaving only a girl who has traded her gift for a man's fleeting attention. Love becomes her executioner's blade. The portrait begins its metamorphosis in shadows, away from human eyes. Where once youth bloomed eternal, now subtle lines appear like hairline cracks in perfect marble. The painting becomes a living thing, breathing with Dorian's sins, aging with his cruelties. Dorian's face remains unmarked as he walks through London's midnight streets, his reflection in shop windows still that of an angel. Yet his soul bears the weight of Sybil's death, each cruel word he spoke to her now carved into the canvas that guards his secret. The locked room grows heavy with more than dust and abandonment. Here, behind doors that only Dorian's key can open, the portrait lurks like a conscience made visible. The painted eyes follow him with the persistence of memory, beautiful and terrible. Years flow like water through Wilde's prose, seasons turning while Dorian remains frozen in that first moment of perfect youth. Around him, friends grow old, lovers fade, but he continues unchanged, a walking violation of nature's most sacred law. The Victorian era pulses beneath these pages, all its contradictions laid bare. Society's surface gleams with moral certainty while its depths churn with suppressed desires. Wilde captures this tension like lightning in a bottle, beautiful and dangerous to hold. Basil Hallward returns to his creation like a father seeking his lost child. In his eyes burns the pain of an artist who has witnessed his masterpiece twisted into something unrecognizable. Love and horror war in his gentle heart as he confronts what his brush has wrought. The confrontation between creator and creation crackles with electricity. Basil's honest love meets Dorian's beautiful corruption, and in that collision, something precious shatters. The portrait reveals its true face, and with it, the cost of eternal youth. Murder stains Dorian's hands like invisible ink, visible only to the portrait's unforgiving gaze. Basil's blood becomes another layer of paint on the canvas of corruption, another step down the staircase that leads from beauty to damnation. The body disappears into London's chemical underworld, dissolved in acid like sugar in rain. Yet the stain remains, not on Dorian's flawless skin, but on the painted flesh that bears his true image. The portrait becomes a graveyard for the dead. Blackmail enters the story like a serpent in evening dress, its scales gleaming with the promise of destruction. Alan Campbell's chemistry can dissolve a body, but it cannot wash away the guilt that now flows through Dorian's veins like poison. The opium den embraces Dorian like a lover made of smoke and shadows. Here, among the lost and the seeking, he finds temporary escape from the weight of his own perfection. The drug dreams offer mercy that his waking life denies. James Vane emerges from the London fog like vengeance given form, his sailor's hands rough with honest work, his heart burning with a brother's love. He carries Sybil's memory like a sacred flame, seeking the man who extinguished her light. The hunt begins in earnest now, predator and prey dancing through London's labyrinthine streets. Dorian's youth becomes both shield and target, protecting him from suspicion while marking him for retribution. Beauty transforms into its own trap. Country houses and garden parties provide a stage for Dorian's final performance, their manicured lawns and crystal chandeliers masking the darkness that follows him like a faithful dog. Even paradise cannot escape the corruption he carries. The accident that claims James Vane seems like fate's cruel joke, robbing justice of its moment while granting Dorian another reprieve. Yet death's shadow grows longer, and the portrait's eyes seem to burn with increasing intensity. Wilde himself haunts these pages, his own struggles with society's judgment bleeding into his character's torment. The author who would face imprisonment for love that dared not speak its name understands the weight of beautiful damnation. The aesthetic movement finds its voice in Wilde's prose, art for art's sake becoming both philosophy and prophecy. Beauty becomes its own morality, pleasure its own justification, until the very foundations of Victorian certainty begin to crack. The fin de siècle spirit breathes through every sentence, that end-of-century exhaustion mixing with desperate hunger for new sensations. Decadence becomes not just a choice but a necessity, the only response to a world grown stale with righteousness. Dorian's attempt at redemption flickers like a candle in a hurricane. His desire to spare one innocent girl from corruption seems noble, yet the portrait remains unmoved by this single act of mercy. Some stains run too deep to wash away. The knife that killed Basil becomes the instrument of Dorian's final choice, its blade carrying the weight of justice and desperation. In his hands, it transforms from weapon to key, promising to unlock the prison of his own making. The portrait's destruction becomes an act of suicide and rebirth, the painted flesh bearing all the corruption while the living body remains frozen in perfect youth. Yet when art and life are so intertwined, destroying one may doom the other. The servants find two bodies where moments before there was only one, the portrait restored to its original innocence, and beside it an old man wearing Dorian's face, but bearing the weight of all his accumulated sins. Time claims its due at last. The symmetry of the ending echoes through literature's corridors, a perfect circle closing on itself. The beautiful boy who wished to remain forever young pays the ultimate price for his desire, teaching us that some gifts are too dangerous to accept. Wilde's imprisonment casts its shadow over every page, the author's own punishment for loving outside society's boundaries, giving weight to his exploration of hidden desires. The book becomes prophecy, its warnings written in the author's own blood. The novel's influence spreads like ripples in a dark pond, touching generations of readers who recognise something of themselves in Dorian's struggle with desire and consequence. The portrait becomes a mirror for every soul that has ever wished to escape time's judgment. Modern readers find new meanings in Wilde's masterpiece, each generation discovering fresh layers of symbolism buried in the text. The story adapts and evolves, its themes of beauty, corruption, and the price of perfection remaining eternally relevant. The portrait continues to hang in literature's gallery, its painted eyes watching new readers discover the terrible beauty of Wilde's vision. Each viewing reveals new details, new horrors, new moments of breathtaking insight into the human condition. Society's relationship with beauty and youth remains as complex as ever, Dorian's bargain echoing in every cosmetic surgery, every desperate attempt to halt time's passage. The mirror still reflects our deepest fears and most impossible desires. In the end, Wilde's masterpiece reminds us that true immortality lies not in the preservation of youth, but in the courage to face our own reflections honestly. The portrait may crumble, but the story endures, teaching us that some prices are too high to pay. The brush falls silent, the canvas remains,